Hello, everybody. Welcome in to the Basketball Bulletin. I'm Trevor Lane. He's Donnie Freeman. Lots going on around the NBA trade market as we head towards that February 5th trade deadline. So we got a lot to get into today. In fact, Donnie, the first thing I saw when I woke up this morning, in fact, what woke me up this morning was a text message from you complaining about the news coming out at a inopportune time where you were not able to jump onto it. I groggily opened my eyes and saw what was going on with Jonathan Kuminga's trade demand and went, oh, time to go to work. A lot going on around the NBA today. So thought we'd go live a little bit here and take some of your questions, some of your comments, and talk about some of the biggest stories of the day.
Yeah, that came out at like 7:45, and I'm like, SOB, man. Like, I'm on my way out the door, got to take the kids to school, do my normal routine in the morning, and it's just like, come on. Like, where can't this stuff come out like a few hours later? But then when that happens to you, you're always like, if they do it that way, it doesn't work for you because you're in like what other show you're doing. So it's like, oh, it's hard to line up. Right?
We are difficult to plan around, but we would appreciate it if the NBA newsbreakers would go ahead and do that. Plan around our schedule to make life easier.
Ask us if it's okay if you publish the information out there.
Exactly. Donnie, I know we're going to get a lot of questions on it, so why not just dive right into it here? Rob Pelinka, this is reporting out of the Bay Area. Okay, that is important to note. Rob Pelinka is, according to Dalton J. Johnson, Lakers president of operations. Rob Pelinka is a fan of Jonathan Kuminga's and likes the idea of him as an athletic wing on a Luka Doncic-led team. The Warriors have been aware of the Lakers' likeness for Kuminga. The likeness for Kuminga?
That's funny.
That makes that right there. I didn't notice that until just now. That right there,
face.
It makes me question the validity of the report. Nonetheless, it's unclear how likely an in-season move between the two teams is. Okay, so do you buy that the Lakers like Jonathan Kuminga, and do you like Jonathan Kuminga for the Lakers?
I do buy that they like his likeness. I mean, I guess he's not the exact guy that they should be trying to be linked to, but stranger things have happened, right? In terms of like who their potential targets are over the last few years. There seems to be a disconnect with what the fans see and what Rob sees sometimes. So I wouldn't be surprised. But we talked about this in one of our videos, and I said I can maybe see it, but I wouldn't target him right now. This would be like an offseason thing when you turned over the roster, because like realistically, like half the roster could be free agents. Maybe they're re-signed, maybe they're not. And you could have a very different looking roster next season, and maybe at that point he would fit better. But as of now, I wouldn't want there was a report of Kuzma, for example. I wouldn't want another forward, but I do think he could be a guy that's on the wing for any number of years. Ideally, you'd have a better shooter and defender alongside Luka, but he's a guy that I think you could slot in there, assuming that there's not too much duplication in terms of defensive roles with him, LeBron, Rui, Luka. Like, it's just too much, right? So,
would you give up Rui for Kuminga if you're the Lakers?
Nah, I think Rui fits more of an immediate need. I think Kuminga is a better talent and has a higher ceiling, though. But I think that potentially, yeah. I think Rui fits more of a need, though, that the Lakers have.
I talked about this with Keith Smith earlier today in a show that's going to go out in just a bit. We still don't know if Jonathan Kuminga is good at basketball.
Right. Because they refuse to play him. Like, it is what it is. Oh, well, no, we know that he can do something. Otherwise, the agent wouldn't have had that highlight to put out the other day.
The highlight reel of Kuminga destroying the Atlanta Hawks, and while the Warriors are getting beat by the Atlanta Hawks with Kuminga stuck on their bench.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, he had a big game in the playoffs too. So there's clearly something there. It's just a Steve Kerr thing. Yeah. So we know there's something there. We just don't know if he'll be what he thinks he can be.
So here's where I'm at with Jonathan Kuminga. I don't know that he's particularly a good fit with the Lakers. I'm concerned about the shooting. Would they be just getting right back into another player who we say, well, if he can shoot? We said it with Jalen Hood-Schifino. We said it with Talen Horton-Tucker. We're saying it right now with Adu Thero. Do you really want another guy that you're saying, well, if he can shoot? And with him, it's if he can defend as well, right? So I don't love that. If the Warriors are so desperate to move him, though, and they should be, because at this point, this is completely blown up in their faces. The Warriors overplayed their hand to the point where even the Sacramento Kings, renowned negotiators, the Sacramento Kings, are telling the Golden State Warriors, no, that trade that was available this summer is no longer available. That first-round pick, no, you guys don't have that kind of leverage anymore. You're not getting a first-round pick from us. Given the situation, if you're able to buy so low on Jonathan Kuminga that you don't worry about keeping him long term, that you can literally look at him just as an expiring contract, as a dart throw, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, you wash your hands of it. This summer, you don't pick up his team option, and you move forward with your cap space plan, then I think he makes sense for the Lakers to go target. But if it means, as you're saying, Donnie, if it means giving up Rui, if it means giving up anything of any kind of significant value other than just, stuff you probably weren't going to be upset with losing anyway. If you're able to do Jared Vanderbilt and Gabe Vincent, for example, I love Jared Vanderbilt, but he's a negative value on his contract. And if you're able to remove those years, I don't know why the Warriors would do it, but if you're able to do something like that, that's just a no-brainer, okay, welcome to LA. And I would assume the Warriors would not do that until the 11th hour on February 5th, because they'd be waiting to see if they could turn Jonathan Kuminga into something better. But in that scenario, I would do it. Otherwise, I'm targeting other players if I'm the Lakers, players that I know check the boxes that I need.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not really like, to me, like if it's Rui in there, it's not so much about the value of the players individually, because I don't think anybody would argue that Kuminga, like I said earlier, is probably just a better player at some of the things Rui isn't, because Rui doesn't do anything but score. So I don't think many people would argue about that. It's more about where the current team is fit wise, and that's why I wouldn't do that personally. But if you could give up, if you could go Kleber and Vincent, sure. Like, I'm not really mad at that. If you could throw Vando in there, I'm not also like, I like Vando a lot, but I'm not too mad at that. I could talk myself into it also. Especially,
well, that was Kevin O'Connor who mentioned that earlier today, that Jared Vanderbilt, the Lakers are trying to pair Gabe Vincent and Jared Vanderbilt, which, first of all, like, good luck, right? I mean, what team right now is saying we could really use a Gabe Vincent and Jared Vanderbilt right now? But that would be a way for the Lakers to mitigate taking on any long-term salary if that's the pairing, because Vando has money into next year. So if you take money into next year, let's say you take 25 million into next year on a player coming in, well, you're really only out 12.5 million, because Jared Vanderbilt would have been taking up 12.5 million next year anyway. But that said, he's got a team would much rather take on Maxi Kleber than Jared Vanderbilt right now, even though Jared Vanderbilt is far more playable, because that's the NBA we live in right now with contracts.
Yeah, he's got another year on a player option, right? Because, of course, so that's where it's a little bit tricky with Vando there. Really quick, I wanted to point this out. Chuck is on point here. 670 viewers, 44 likes. Get the likes up. Also subscribe if you're new. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Let's go. Yeah, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you like the channel and all of that. We appreciate all of you who have been in here and supporting us from day one, of course. Yeah. Rui with the Warriors would be a bad move from the Lakers because they'll make him better. Yeah, I mean, Rui would make the Warriors better.
Yeah. It's about like taking, for the Warriors side of things, it's about taking a player that's making $22 million that you're literally not playing and turning him into pieces that you would use, whether you get back a star or somebody high caliber like MPJ or Herb Jones, whatever, all these other players they've been linked to. If you could turn him into players that would be a part of your rotation, one or two, I think that's an upgrade, because he's literally just rotting on your bench. Yeah. And especially if you don't have to give up many assets, especially those coveted ones in the 28, 29, 30 plus range. Like, I think that's also a win. But I understand they want a bigger fish, and that was their hopes back to the offseason, right? They signed into that contract largely so they could get a bigger fish like a Giannis or something like that, but it hasn't materialized that way.
Yeah, the contract was signed to be traded. Somebody asked, so why is this so bad again from the thumbnail? Because the Warriors overplayed their hand in such a big way, because the Warriors banked on Jonathan Kuminga being better this season, and he's not been, to the point where I think most teams would not pick up the team option for the second year right now. They would just look at him as an expiring contract. This is so bad because now you've got a young player who does have some talent, who is stuck sitting on a bench for a team that can't use him or won't use him and needs to get to another team, but his trade value is so diminished, and the Warriors seem hell-bent on trying to squeeze any value they can get, that now they're talking about, we may just keep him past the trade deadline. Now, I don't buy that for a minute, and I don't think anybody else does either, but now the Warriors are saying, well, we could keep him past, he's got the team option, we could keep him past the trade deadline. My God, that would be a disaster, and that's what I think teams are banking on. That's why I think there are teams out there that are saying, if we can get Jonathan Kuminga for half a year on the Warriors, desperate to get him out the door price, fine. I think that's where the Lakers would be. I think that's where the Sacramento Kings would be as well.
Does Jonathan just make their life living hell until they trade him?
How? I mean, what's he gonna do? Like, that point was made. Jonathan Kuminga demands a trade today.
Yeah.
But what's he gonna do? Threaten to sit out?
I won't come to the game. Okay, fine. You weren't being played anyway. Right? Like, oh. I don't know what he does. It would have to be some sort of like PR move. Did you see how that came out today? But then there was instant counter PR of like, basically they want to get the trade done ASAP, things like that. But like Jonathan has been a problem in the locker room, this and that also. And then also the Warriors have vets on the team that would like for him to be traded because they don't like how he's being handled. There's already been a lot of spin out today on all of this.
Well, I don't think it's any coincidence that this is all coming out the day that he is officially able. Oh, he threatens to play.
That was another thing. They were going to activate him, but that's when he got that quote unquote injury.
The back injury. Yeah. And he tells the Warriors like a few hours before the game, "Oh, my back hurts. I can't play."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about that too. That was crazy that happened.
That was okay. So Jonathan Kuminga needs to move by the trade deadline, no question. Ideally sooner, but he needs to get out of Golden State, and Golden State needs to get rid of Jonathan Kuminga one way or another. This situation needs to be resolved. My concern from a Golden State standpoint would be that they're going to wind up having to just take expiring contracts. Expiring contracts have value in today's NBA. Flexibility has value. You can get, especially if you're willing to take back a player that's not on a positive value contract. We saw it. Like, who would have thought Trey Young would move for the deal that he's on? John Morant, I guarantee you the Grizzlies are going to be thinking, oh my God, what we could have got for this guy 2 years ago, and look what we're having to take right now. That the NBA has changed the way they look at contracts. Anybody who even smells slightly like negative value on their contract, teams, they are nuclear. Teams want nothing to do with those players. I think you could argue on Jonathan Kuminga's contract right now, he's negative value. And that $24.3 million team option is the only saving grace in that a team will look at him as just an expiring contract. Maybe the Warriors will be able to move him based on that, but one way or another, it needs to happen. And if the Warriors need to just take on expirings, maybe you kick them some minor asset just so they feel like they got something. I think it'll go all the way up until February 5th, though, because I think the Warriors are going to hold out every last bit of hope they can that they're somehow, some way going to turn Jonathan Kuminga into Trey Murphy.
Yeah, that I don't think that'll happen, but I'm sure they would love for it to. And it's also kind of weird because the fit with Zion isn't great unless they plan to flip Zion. I don't know, but Max Kellerman, is that you?
What?
Is that you?
Are you? Oh my God.
Is that you? LeBron doesn't like paying with it. Well, I tell you right now, they wouldn't make that decision based on what LeBron wants.
No, they wouldn't.
Khan and Luka would feed families. Yeah, they would actually. That'd be really nice. But
little breaking news, not a trade. This sucks. Cam Whitmore will miss the remainder of the season.
That's unfortunate.
Whitmore has started the recovery process for a diagnosed venous condition. I don't know what that means. Is that like a pulmonary embolism type thing? I don't know.
I'm no doctor.
I'm not. I don't even play one on TV. That's unfortunate news there.
Yeah, regardless, missing the rest of the season, that sucks for anybody. So
yeah,
wishing him well. Hope he gets well soon.
100%. Okay, so we do have some other news, of course, that's out beyond just the Jonathan Kuminga talk, which again, it's coming out today because Kuminga can officially be traded today, and I'm sure he would like to be. Let's talk about the Chicago Bulls bit that came out from Jay Cowley today. And that's that the Bulls are starting to be more transparent in trade talks and more realistic in asking prices. Donnie, we talk about this all the time, that the closer you get to the trade deadline, the more realistic the asking prices get. This is very normal. And the better the offers get, right? Teams start in December, teams are asking for the moon for random players, and teams are offering nothing. And then as you get closer and closer to the trade deadline, offers come up, asking prices come down, boom, you get into a deal zone, you get something done. So if the Chicago Bulls are getting something done here, they could have the ability to really shake up their roster if they're going to get more realistic, because there's not a ton of sellers out there on the market. So this is an interesting market for Chicago to sell into. There's some reports that they want first-round draft capital for Coby White. We'll see. He desires a new contract, or he's going to need a new contract this next summer. But there could be some interesting Bulls pieces out there that could, I think, maybe shake things up here if they are indeed starting to get more realistic with their pricing.
Yeah. Do you foresee anybody getting moved?
Yeah, let's go to here. Let me throw up the Bulls cap sheet. So when I look at Chicago, Nikola Vucevic, yeah, if they're going to get realistic about finally tearing this thing down, and they should, Vooch, 100%, $21.4 million expiring contract. This is probably your last chance. Probably your last chance to move him. I'm not saying you're going to get great value for him, but he's an expiring salary. He's still playing well. Get something there. Patrick Williams, we talk about the long-term salary deal. I'm worried about that. I don't think anybody's going to want, even though he's a wing-ish, and that's what everybody's looking for, I think the long-term nature of his contract will make it tough. But Coby White, young player with some value. Isaac Okoro is a player that a lot of teams would be interested in. They flipped Lonzo Ball for him. But at $11.8 million for next season, I think most teams will say at the very least he's neutral value, if not positive value on that contract. So he will have some suitors around the NBA. Jalen Smith, another guy to keep an eye on. Ayo Dosunmu. I think the Chicago Bulls have to decide if they're going to pay one of Coby White or Ayo Dosunmu. I don't know that they keep both. I suppose they could, but Ayo Dosunmu would have some value around the market too. They've got some pieces that they could trade, and hearing they're getting more realistic on their prices, that makes me optimistic that we'll see the Bulls finally. I've been wanting this. The Bulls East, I've been wanting them to get real, or the Kings East, I mean, I've been wanting them to get realistic about where they're headed and tear this thing down so they can give themselves a real chance to build back up rather than constantly gun for the 10 or the 9 seed in the East and just be happy with a game or two of play-in revenue.
Yeah, that would be in their best interest. What about some of the younger guys that they have here? What do you think they're going to pick a direction with like the backcourt and stuff like that? I know they're managing White because of the calf injuries and all that stuff, but he's somebody that potentially, I don't know, but I'd imagine they'd like to keep him, obviously, but they do have to make some decisions, I'd imagine, with that backcourt.
Yeah, they essentially they have to decide, which is what a lot of teams are figuring out. Do we want to be the team to pay him on his next contract? So, for example, Atlanta decided we don't want to be the team to pay Trae Young on his next contract. He wants an extension. That was the conversation with Anthony Davis and the Mavs. We'll see ultimately where that situation goes, especially with that injury. Ayo Dosunmu, it's the same thing. Do we want to be the team to pay him on his next contract? And what does that look like? A lot of times we get focused on, hey, should they keep this guy or not? Is he a good player or not? The financials are mattering more than ever. Is Ayo Dosunmu telling the Bulls, well, I need $25 million a year? The Bulls say, no, we're not willing to give you that. Okay, then let's find a trade, right, to a team that will. Could be a similar conversation with Coby White. Hey, I need $30 million a year. I want Josh Giddey money. I need $25 million a year. No, we don't want to be we're not going to be the team to pay that. Okay, let's find a trade. Let's move him someplace that he can. And that's the unknown. We don't know what those conversations are looking like behind closed doors, but those are good players. I think it makes sense for Chicago to pick one of them and stick with that player, whether that's Coby White or Ayo. I don't know that keeping them both, especially if they both want hefty raises, I think just that locks you into more of the same.
Yeah, that would be where I'm at with you as well, or with it as well. I agree with you. They have some interesting decisions to make, but I think they could be a really good seller on the market if they decide to do so. But they're also in a position where they're also trying to accumulate some assets. So I wouldn't expect for them to just, even though asking prices are going to go down for a lot of teams, I would expect for them to not hold firm, but still ask for as much as they could get, of course.
Oh yeah, of course. They're a team that's going to look to pick up as many assets as they can. They don't have to move on from these guys, but they also don't have the benefit of restricted free agency in the case of either player. So the threat of losing that guy for nothing this summer is certainly there and could help spark activity. So at the very least, I would like to see them move Nikola Vucevic. He's very happy. He's not going to raise a stink and create problems there, but it's been time for them to move on from him for a while and get him someplace where he can actually go try to make a push to win. That contract, again, not terrible right now, as long as you're not taking on future salary, or if you are, you're getting paid for it. If you're Chicago, move on from Vooch, do what you can there, try to pick up an asset, and then see what the market looks like for specifically Isaac Okoro, Ayo Dosunmu, Kobe White, and see what's what with those pieces. But hearing that they are getting realistic with their asking prices, that makes me pretty optimistic that they're going to move at least one, if not more, of these guys by the time the dust settles on February 5th.
And that's where they need to be, because that's what we've been waiting for several teams like them. And Sacramento seems to be in the same spot where they're like, we just want to get rid of everybody. So we'll see what happens from there. I wanted to point this out also. I assume this is talking about the Lakers. We don't need three shooters. Look at Jones, Marshall, PJ, etc. from Dallas. They don't really shoot threes. On the year that they went to the finals was the 23-24 season. Jones shot 34%. PJ shot 32% on 6 attempts. Marshall was not on that roster, as far as I recall. But it's more about having the threat of having guys that can shoot. Like, those are both, like, PJ's a career 36% shooter. So he's obviously a decent shooter. He's not great, he's just decent. With the Lakers, they're playing guys like Vando, who's like, nobody is ever going to respect him until he turns into a 36% shooter for like 3 years. Nobody's going to respect him, So it's very different. Apples and oranges there.
It's a combination of two things that you need. You need guys who shoot well enough, but also have a willingness to shoot, right? You've got to have that in order to demand the respect of the defense. All right, we got a super chat we're going to get into. Certainly appreciate the super chat. Remember, super chat questions automatically get answered. So we're going to get to that one in just a moment. Just real quick, want to give a shout out to our sponsor, and that is Sleeper. You guys have heard us talk about them. They do a fantastic job, and they've got, of course, a great deal right now where you can get a $100 deposit match up to $100 when you use our promo code Bulletin. You guys can check out Sleeper. It's a great way to bring people together. Adam Silver talked about this today in his address over in Berlin. His press session in Berlin talked about how sports has the ability to bring people together. And that's what Sleeper can do as well. People can experience and connect over sports. But not everybody has returned to offices and things like that. We're working in different ways. There's less face-to-face contact. Sleeper is an app that allows people to interact with each other through the power of shared experience, and that is sports. You can play in fantasy leagues. You can win money in picks and things like that, but you can also interact with other users over on Sleeper. So go check it out. Again, get a $100 deposit match up to $100 if you're going to use their picks platform with that code Bulletin. That way they know that you came from us, and you can use the link in the description down below. All right, Donnie, let's get into this super chat question. And let's go right here. Khalil said, Rui and Maxey to Brooklyn. Okay. Gabe, Ayton. Ooh, DeAndre Ayton going out. And a second-round pick to Charlotte. Connect and a first-round pick to Chicago. So Charlotte and Dalton Connect in the same deal. But Charlotte's still not getting Dalton Connect. Lakers get Ayo Dosunmu, Colin Sexton, Day'Ron Sharpe. No, is that Moussa Diabate, who's playing against the Lakers tonight? He did get upgraded. Zaire Williams and Haywood Highsmith. That's too much.
Too much going on.
Yeah,
you're not going to see like one deal that sends like 7-8 players out very often. It's gonna, maybe you'll see one or two that get folded into one, but you're not going to see it like that.
Yeah, that's a lot of pieces going out there. I mean, the first thing from a Lakers perspective, you're getting some really interesting talent there.
Yeah.
You're not giving up first in this, so you'd be happy from that perspective. I think it makes some sense for LA from that perspective. But as far as Charlotte, I mean, there's getting Gabe, Ayton, in a second, and Charlotte's giving up Sexton,
1,
and
2,
yeah,
3, 4, 5. Yeah.
Musa Diabate.
I guess this could be broken up into multiple deals because they're not really trading with each other much, are they? They're just giving all these players to the Lakers.
Yeah, and Rui and Maxi to Brooklyn in exchange for we can just do Rui and Maxi to Brooklyn for Day'Ron Sharpe, Zaire, and Highsmith. Where's the incentive for Brooklyn? You're talking about expiring contracts.
Yeah,
I believe Musa Diabate is expiring. Let me double check. Oh, I'm sorry. Diabate is not in there. Diabate is with Hornets, but it'll be Zaire, Highsmith, and Day'Ron. Day'Ron's under contract next year, but he's not a bad salary. He's only $6 million. I think is he a team option? Yeah, he's a team option. Zaire's a team option too. So there's no.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, let's do this. Do the Lakers do this deal?
Yes.
Okay, that's all that matters.
That's all that matters. There it is. That's all that matters. We got a $20 super chat from Teddy. Appreciate you, Teddy.
Yeah, thank you.
Hope those Bucks fans who have the audacity to boo Giannis will make him say bleep this city. OKC would welcome him with open arms. Isaiah Hart. Could you imagine?
You want bad things for the league.
Could you imagine? Now, of course they would. They have the assets to do it.
Yeah.
Isaiah Hartenstein and Dort. So the two team options that we talk about, the two bigger team options that OKC may have, depending on what their appetite for spending is, may have to make a difficult decision on Isaiah Hartenstein and Lou Dort, plus $1 billion picks. They don't have a ton of high value picks, but do they have picks they could use? Sure.
I mean, okay. Well, if they say give us 7 picks, well, okay, here's your 7 picks.
Right, but if you're the Bucks, if they're 7, but sure, they've got a bunch of picks they could stack up. Yeah. Would SGA Giannis be a lesser version of Shaq and Kobe? I mean, I hesitate. I get there's the raw strength and power comp there.
Player comp also. You could go a little bit further. Player comp a little bit. Say the way he plays, aside from the grifting, mid-range focus, all that stuff. He's often compared to, whether you agree or not, him and MJ and their play style. Giannis is one of the most unstoppable players we've seen since Shaq. I mean, you could go a little bit further, but
are you going Jordan Pippen here?
I don't know. Jordan. Oh no! I'm not doing all that.
So I don't know. I do think
that'd be damn scary to play against, though.
I think the problem is the Thunder are too good this year to trade for Giannis.
Yeah.
And what I mean is they're already so good and they've got chemistry. Do you risk messing up that chemistry? And then in terms of your cap sheet, you're locking $50 million plus onto your books for next year. Whereas we look at the team options for iHeart and Dort and say you may have to make a tough choice there. Kenrich Williams, you could decline that team option, but you've got more draft capital coming in. Chet goes up that next year. J-Dub goes up, so you could be locking yourself into being a second apron team. Whereas you would, if you don't do that, you at least have the option to potentially stay below the second apron, depending on what you want to do. But I think the Thunder ultimately, they've won too much to screw with the chemistry, as tempting as it would be to get Giannis right now.
Yeah, I with Giannis, he's such a high usage, high integration piece that it may shake things up. But I think they'd be fine, if I'm being honest with you. I think they have enough time to figure it out. But I don't think in good faith you can shake it up like that. It's mid-season. Maybe if they lose in the summer or this finals or whatever.
Yeah,
maybe at that point you could do it in the summer.
They get bounced in round 2 or something like that. They get upset by somebody. Then so it's kind of like, does KD join the Warriors if they didn't come up short in the finals?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. Right? Actually, something similar to that.
Yeah,
man, I don't actually. Now that you mentioned it, I don't want to see that again. It's like because that year you have the second and third best players teaming up on a team. Like that's damn near the same thing if you're going to put Shea with Giannis.
Yeah, that's two top five guys on one team, and that would be what would be attractive to the Thunder. Just say, man, we get two top five guys on one team. Let's go.
At that point, do you just say, "Damn the chemistry"?
Who cares about fit? Two top five guys.
Hey, man, you make it work. The great ones make it work.
Man. All right. Let's go. Here is Lou Dort to the Lakers realistic, or would it work long term? Would it work long term? Sure. Is it realistic? No, I don't think so. Again, if the Thunder are going to make a move, I'll tell you what the Thunder are going to do. They're going to take some of the picks they have right now, and they're going to turn them into picks for the future. They're going to kick the can down the road because they're going to say we have more picks than we can actually use. We have more picks than we have roster spots for. So they don't want that value to just expire to draft a guy that you have to cut because you don't have a roster spot for him, or have to cut somebody else that you don't want to. So they're going to turn those picks into future capital. They're going to say, give us your 2030 pick and we'll give you a pick right now, right? That's what I'm going to see them do. Otherwise, if I'm the Thunder, I'm not doing anything drastic at the trade deadline this year. I am building upon chemistry. I'm running back what I've got. I already won a championship. I already have the MVP, got the best team in the NBA, the best net rating in NBA history. I'm not doing too much to tinker with something that's not broken.
Yep, that's the right idea.
Lou Dort and 3 firsts for Trey Murphy. Who says no? We're really in on trading Lou Dort today, aren't we?
Oh, that's actually,
would it help if I told you that Trey Murphy in 2026 is averaging over 31 points per game?
I mean, the Thunder don't necessarily need that, but my God, would they be so lethal? I think they could spare a Dort too. But I don't know that the Pelicans are obviously clearly going to try to do that for the firsts.
It depends on what the firsts are.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know who says no in that. That's a tricky one.
That is a tough one. I mean, Trey Murphy is so good. He's not the the Thunder could get themselves in a series where you're wishing you had Lou Dort to defend whoever, right?
But you also got a guy that could drop 30, and
you also have a guy who could drop 30 and could shoot, and it could do a lot more.
Yeah, and he's also young too. It's not like he's the has-been or whatever. Also, 3 first-round picks. That's where, like Trev just said, it's about what the picks are.
Yeah, not all first-round picks are created equal. Like if you're telling me there are 3 picks and those 3 picks are expected to be 25 or later, that's very different than 3 unprotected picks from teams that are questionable with their futures and they could be lottery picks. A huge difference between those two things.
Yeah, I don't know who says no in that, but I would lean OKC because I don't see a reason why the Pelicans wouldn't do that. Because as Gabriel follows up, they could then, that's what I was thinking also, they could then just flip Dort if they didn't want to. Similar to like what Brooklyn winds up doing a lot.
Yeah, I think they would wind up just doing it. Just on a value perspective, you kind of have to do it, especially because Trey Murphy's locked up long-term on a deal that looks very nice. I mean, again, he's giving you more than 31 points per game right now. I did the play-by-play last night for Nets Pels on League Pass, and it was a really fun game. And Trey Murphy, he's just so effortless the way he lights it up. And look at the contract, $25 million this year, $27 million next. Like, that's what positive value looks like when you've got a dude who can drop 30 like he can and is doing it at that price. That's what you love to see. And teams would love to have that on their books for the next 3 seasons after this one. I would think he's got a lot of value.
There's a good chance he's outperforming that and within the next couple of years. Like he's already now. I was gonna say, frankly, he's probably already outperforming that. So like that's gonna be really good value for a number of time or a number of years there.
Exactly. All right, let's get in a couple more. I've got to jump on the radio in Charlotte in just a moment to talk Lakers Hornets here. When do All-Stars get released? That should be soon. They'll reveal the All-Star lineups and all that. Remember, they just did last night was the final opportunity to turn in media votes, fan voting, all of that kind of stuff. So it's going to be soon though that we'll finally hear. They'll make a big show of it. The Lakers get Mathurin, Claxton, and Highsmith. Ooh, better be giving up a lot. Rui, Gabe, Maxey, Dalton Connect, and a Lakers first. So you're giving up basically everything going to the Nets. And then Indy getting Cam Thomas, Ayton, and a second.
Man, we're in on trading Ayton today.
Yeah. Do you give, if you're Indy, do you give Mathurin for that? Cam Thomas, knowing he can leave in free agency, Ayton could do the same?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Well, the thing with that is that they've wanted Ayton for a couple years now, or for
they
like
tried to sign him once, and they did technically sign him. It got matched immediately.
Yeah, on his last contract. And they are very clearly in the market for a center that can be their center long term. Ayton lines up, so I think they could talk themselves into it. But I don't know that I do it.
This would be if they have decided, as we talked about earlier, that they don't want to be the team to pay Mathurin on the next contract.
Yeah, that's it.
That's where they do it.
Yeah, but I think that would be really interesting getting Claxton back, because he profiles as a better long-term fit than Ayton does alongside Luka.
Sure. Yeah. Athletic, can still protect the rim.
Yeah.
Not as physically powerful, but nonetheless.
It's a good ball mover as well. You can drop the ball to him and he could set it up as well. So I like him a lot.
All right, Donnie, I've got Radio in Charlotte calling me here. Let me jump onto that.
Cool. All right, everyone. Well, since Trevor is bouncing, there wasn't really anything else we really had to talk about. But we're going to go ahead and conclude the show. So I want to say thank you, everyone. I can see him. He's on the phone. He looks like Rob Pelinka. Thank you for tuning in, everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed the stream. If there's any super chats we missed, we'll get to them tomorrow. I don't believe so. But thank you, guys, and we'll see you all later.